Hello there, Siinthd, and thanks for a great rec take. I think you did pretty well here, and I can tell you've been serious about working on this one. Now, the main thing I'm going to focus on in this video is going to be the bending and the vibrato motion, and you're touching upon this yourself. You're telling us that you're reviewing your vibrato technique and how you connect your wrist to the actual vibrato motion and all that good stuff. So you're definitely on the right track there. Now, just by watching your video, I can see some obvious improvement opportunities, and those are the ones I want to discuss with you. The basic rule is that for any bending or vibrato, we don't want to be relying on our small, tiny muscles that we can find in our fingers. Instead, we want the bigger muscles that can be found in the arm, right? So that's the basic principle, and it applies to anything you do on the guitar. If you have the choice between big muscles and small muscles, you want to go for the bigger muscles, because those are going to allow you to play with the least amount of strain and pressure, and that's going to have a major impact on your playing ability. So having said this, there are also some other things to think about. One of them being that if you make use of different leverage points when bending, things get so much easier. And this is something I can clearly see you are not doing in your video. So for example, when doing a bend with the index finger here, you can hopefully see here that I have a leverage point which is here. Without that leverage point, I would have to come up with some other way of doing it, which wouldn't be nearly as handy. So this is really crucial to have this. And it also, I think, is a good way to mitigate the movement or the motion from the finger back to the arm. And again, this is where the stronger muscles are, so that's where you want to do it. The other kind of leverage point you want to make use of, which is an obvious one, that's the thumb. And I can see you've moved down to a classical position here, which some consider to be good. I'm not a big fan of that position where I have my thumb down here unless I'm doing stretchy stuff. But as soon as I'm done with the stretchy stuff, I try to move my thumb back for several reasons. One of them being the bending, which we're discussing here, but also just to be as relaxed as possible. I find that this is pretty much your relaxed. There we go. You're relaxed. If you just hold your hand, this is how your hand wants to look, right? It doesn't want to do this, which is a classical kind of posture. So anything that gets me as close as possible to my natural kind of hand position or posture is good. So if we just try to move all this together into a clear and focused message, that would be you are on the right track. You want to experiment with your vibrato. However, you don't want to miss your leverage points. So that would be number one. Make sure to make use of those leverage points. So there is one of them. And up here is the other one. And other than that, try to move the motion away back to your arm. So if I do some... Hopefully this camera angle allows you to see clearly, how you should be looking down at your hand. It should be looking like this, right? Not like that. So you can get that leverage point going there. But other than that, I think, again, you're doing serious work here. I can see there are some minor glitches the further into the take we get. And another improvement suggestion is just to include some rakes before you're bending. Not because you have to do that, but because Ivan does it in the lesson, and it sounds really good to my ears. So instead of just doing like that, we do... That's a slow motion move. You can't really tell when things are going by fast, which might be why you've missed it in his lesson. But the idea is to do... Right? That kind of thing, where you rake going down to the target string. And that it is going to require you to think of your muting there. So I try to use both my hands for muting, but you have to at least use one of them. So you can mute with your palm here, or maybe even with your thumb, which is another reason why you would want to have your thumb pretty close up here. at least for this lesson. Okay, so those are all my tips for this rec take, but I think you did really well, and just keep up the hard work, and we're gonna see some killer results. Have a good one.